Some songs stop being cool the same week they're released. Others age like fine wine, and this goes double for these bangers that dropped in 1976. Even if you aren't a fan of punk rock, you definitely know the Ramones' Blitzkrieg Bop. This breakout single encapsulates everything that was exciting about the new genre. The Ramones released their self-titled debut album in the spring of the magical year of 1976, with Blitzkrieg Bop as the record's opening track. With its infectious chant and simple aggressive three-chord structure, it was a statement of intent and a call to arms for would-be punks everywhere. Though the debut album would stall at number 111 on the Billboard 200, it would prove to be a huge hit in the UK, and has obviously stood the test of time. Coming in just a hair over 2 minutes, it summed up everything the Ramones are: raw, loud, and done in less than 3 minutes. One of the bands that proved instrumental in molding the sound of UK punk was the Sex Pistols, and no song proves that point better than their debut single, Anarchy, in the UK. The hit song was an undeniable rocker and had far more in common with the hard rock of the early 1970s than the new generation of punks might have liked to have admitted at the time. It was released amid a storm of controversy. I know you're shocked. It managed to still sell 55,000 copies in Britain and hit number 38 in the singles chart before it was banned by the BBC and pulled from sale by the band's label EMI, which also dropped Sex Pistols from its roster. Perhaps because of the controversy, the Sex Pistols became the de facto British punk band of the generation. The ensuing album, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, contained the band's single and has since gone down as a classic album. The song, which remains as catchy as anything released in the mid-1970s, has become a bona fide classic featured predominantly in the hit movie Toy Story, and remaining a crowd-pleasing feature at public events, particularly in the world of sports. That being said, you'd be surprised to know that Thin Lizzy was struggling to establish itself as an international hard rock band of note up to that point. Even today, there's probably a lot of you watching this that didn't even know they were an Irish band. Apart from their cover of the traditional Irish song Whiskey in the Jar, which charted across Europe earlier in the decade, they'd failed to capitalize on its success with any world-beating hits. Until, that is, they dropped The Boys Are Back in Town. The track climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and buoyed its parent album Jailbreak, which eventually went gold in the US. Blue Öyster Cult had a wide range of subject matter that might have made it more akin to a prog rock band if it weren't for its ability to treat audiences to irresistible grooves. And no track encapsulates what made Blue Öyster Cult special quite like the band's biggest hit, Don't Fear the Reaper, a 1976 single that spent 20 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 12. Just kidding. There we go. You know, it's worth noting that today we merely think of the song as more cowbell, but it's so much more than that. Don't Fear the Reaper was named Rolling Stone magazine's Song of the Year, which is quite an achievement in a year bursting at the seams with incredible rock music. Few songs based around the idea of death have enjoyed such commercial success, but this one has proven irresistible to generations of listeners thanks to its unique atmosphere, iconic riffs, heart-pounding guitar solo, and memorable vocal performances. Boston's More Than a Feeling is somewhat controversial among fans of classic rock. Boston's biggest track, the standout of the band's debut album, is a masterclass in emotionally charged power balladry, with lead singer Brad Delp's powerful vocals layered multiple times to create incredible harmonies on the song's soaring chorus. Paired with the guitar stylings of Tom Scholz, the Boston founder and principal songwriter who reportedly spent around 5 years crafting More Than a Feeling, it is an undeniable crowd pleaser that people still eagerly sing along to today. 1976 was the year that the Eagles became one of the biggest selling rock bands of all time, all thanks to Hotel California and its title track. Welcome to the Hotel California. The band members had each traveled to Los Angeles, as did many budding entertainers at the time, to try to find success in the music industry. While the move ultimately worked out for them, they shared a sense of being outsiders, whose stay in the city resembled life in a hotel and its superficiality, the hidden meaning of the Eagles' Hotel California. Yes, that's what it's about, not some hidden message about a satanic church. Sorry to spoil the fun. The song emerged from guitar parts created by guitarist Don Felder, which were arranged to a reggae-infused rhythm influenced by Bob Marley and the Wailers. However, rather than sounding like a goofy imitation, the song became something singular and mysterious. Worked on in painstaking detail by the band, it was destined to catch the ear of the listening public. The LP was critically acclaimed and has been certified 26 times platinum in the years since its release in 1976. The chart success of the album was buoyed the following year when the title track was finally released as a single, hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It remains rock at its most classic. Versatile vocalist and guitarist Boz Scaggs became a superstar in 1976, thanks to the release of his album Silk Degrees, which showed his adeptness in soul and R&B. Classic tracks include the smooth and danceable Lowdown, which reached #3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and remains a much-sampled classic. But it wasn't just fans of soul and R&B who were lapping up Scaggs' releases in 1976. The single Lido Shuffle, which dropped later the same year, is a rockier number that has also come to be considered one of his best tracks of all time. With an ice-cold set of lyrics describing the life of a hustler drifting from town to town and an infectious shuffle beat that Scaggs later admitted is a shameless lift of Fats Domino's The Fat Man, the song has kept its edge as one of the coolest slice of soft rock from the 1970s. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap was originally released in most markets toward the end of 1976 when the Australian band was still on its way to worldwide stardom. But for whatever reason, Dirty Deeds failed to find US distribution in the 70s, only becoming available to American record buyers in 1981. By this point, AC/DC had become one of the biggest bands in the world thanks to their multi-platinum 1980 classic Back in Black. As any AC/DC fan knows, Back in Black features Brian Johnson on vocals, who replaced the original vocalist Bon Scott after his tragic and unexpected death in February that same year. Fans never forgot Scott and the string of albums he helmed before his demise, Dirty Deeds being one of their most memorable. Fleetwood Mac's Go Your Own Way was released in December 1976, the lead single from what would become the biggest album of the band's career, 1977's Rumors. Eventually peaking at #10 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, the song made for a fitting introduction to the classic album's mood. The song chronicles a bitter end to a relationship, that of the song's principal songwriter Lindsey Buckingham and vocalist-songwriter Stevie Nicks. The two had joined Fleetwood Mac as a unit after an abortive career as a duo, and the breakdown of Buckingham and Nicks' relationship, as painful as it must have been, propelled both artists to produce their finest work. The song in question shows Buckingham's genius for folk-infused pop rock, its upbeat tempo belying the venom of the lyrics. The roaring chorus, which is still invigorating 50 years on, is one of the most cathartic moments in classic rock history. This is perhaps the least well-remembered today, so for those of you that know it, you get a couple of extra cool points to your scorecard for this one. The Sex Pistols may be the band best associated with the 1976 punk explosion in the UK, but the honor of having cut the very first British punk single belongs to Midlands legends The Damned. Released in October 1976, 5 weeks before the arrival of Anarchy in the UK, New Rose introduced the first generation of British punk fans to the genre's joyous high-energy sound at its most primal.
I got a new rose, I got it good. Yes, I knew that I always would.
The song's DIY aesthetic, courtesy of producer Nick Lowe, continues to give license to generations of punk and garage bands that are willing to wear their lack of innate or learned musicality as a badge of honor. The Damned damn well deserves to be remembered more all these 50 years later.